Hey, welcome to this week's video. We are going to dive into the lovely world of hormones and anxiety and why the two are linked so much during this phase of life that we're in. It's important to understand what's happening inside your body so you don't feel like you're losing your absolute mind or that there's something wrong with you. Because our mental health definitely takes a toll in this stage of life because of this phase that we are all going through. One day you're calm and you're having a lovely day, and the next day you're panicking and you can feel the tightness in your chest, and you're just doing normal things that you could have done perfectly fine before, but today all of a sudden you can't. That's because perimenopause is not necessarily just about hot flashes, but it is about hormone fluctuation and understanding how that affects so many areas of your life, your body, but today we're going to focus on the mind and more so anxiety. Anxiety spikes during perimenopause because when it starts to happen to us, it comes out of nowhere. Perhaps you are a woman who has never really experienced anxiety before. You have never really been an anxious person. Perhaps you have struggled with anxiety and maybe it subsided over the years and you felt really good about it and you've worked on yourself and you've watched so many videos and you know how to tackle this beast, so to speak, and now it's starting to come back. Estrogen, progesterone, and even testosterone rise and fall so unpredictably during this stage of life that you're in. Estrogen is going to affect the serotonin and the dopamine, the chemicals that regulate your mood. So when estrogen drops, your brain is absolutely going to feel it. At the same time, progesterone is your calming hormone, and it's also declining. Thank you so much, perimenopause. And progesterone has more of a soothing effect over your nervous system. So when it's low, you're going to feel more anxious, more restless, and more irritable. When your hormones start to feel unstable, which is basically what's happening. One day you feel absolutely fine and your hormones are doing this. The next day you feel like everything is a huge stress. You're rushing, you can feel the tightness in your chest, you can feel it in your throat, maybe you're starting to sweat, maybe you're trembling and it's not hot flashes, and you're starting to feel those anxious feelings. And things that you used to do fine before, you're so nervous to do now. You're so hyper aware of everything. When your hormones are that unstable, your body starts to recognize it or interpret it as stress. This is when cortisol really starts to spike. Now, your cortisol is basically your fight or flight, and it's there to protect you. It's the hormone that helps you to react when something dangerous is actually happening. But when your body keeps releasing it every single day, day after day, then you start getting into fight or flight mode where you can't really get out of it. And then you have this pattern, this couple of days, this little period of your life where you're anxious all the time. And that's why you feel wired, but yet you're tired. Your heart will start racing for absolutely no reason. Your sleep is a mess. And of course, when that starts to happen, then it affects so many things. It affects your mind, your mood, everything, because you're never really resting. And I want to say this because I really want to stress it. And I think every woman listening right now, you need this validation. You are not broken. You are not overly emotional. You are not crazy sensitive. Your body is trying to find balance, and it can't find balance when your hormones are doing this all of the time, where you're going from high lows and there's not too much you can do about it. And we'll talk about preventative things or things that we can do that can help us during this time, because you shouldn't have to suffer and feel anxious and not be able to do normal activities that you used to do perfectly fine before. I think when I started getting into this phase, and this was one of the symptoms that I was experiencing, I was really shocked. I thought I've worked so well on myself. I understand myself so well. I've been parenting myself for years. Like, what is happening? Fortunately, it was just a symptom from my body being a little out of whack, not producing what it needs to be able to function properly. And while it's frustrating and it's exhausting and it's emotional, you really do have to understand that if you're not gentle with yourself and you don't give yourself grace, this is going to be way harder for you to get through. So by fighting it is not going to make it any better. Let's talk about the solution. Let's talk about what can actually work to help us. And there's all different kinds of avenues. Yes, of course, we're in our 40s. Yes, of course, we have a lot of stress. We have businesses, we have careers, we're making money. We have children, we have sports, we have aging parents, we have relationships, we're trying to date. Like, we're all in different phases of what our lives look like, but we're still all under an enormous amount of stress. One of the things that absolutely works is in the morning, I feed my mind. I feed my mind with something that is soothing, that is positive, that is uplifting, that helps calm me. I can listen to people like Eckhart Tolle, who will just soothe me. I can do an affirmation or a meditation and just put a headset on and go outside, or lay on the couch and just let myself just breathe for a minute. I could do acupuncture. I could go for a walk. I could, go for a nice long drive if that's what you're into. But I feel like most women in their 40s really struggle with driving anxiety. I was one of them. All of a sudden, the highways, I could just fly around before, and now I'm like so hyper aware of cars that are just going fast by me that I'm in the right lane. I'm a right lane girl, and I always was a left lane girl. But comment down below, because I would love to hear who here has struggled with anxiety, more specifically driving anxiety, and also what has been your anxieties, that maybe things that you used to do very easily, you just feel like you struggle with it now. But let's talk about solutions and what we can do, because I'm all about fixing, or at least giving you options of things that could possibly work for you. The first is going to be HRT. And recently, I'll give you a little side note on my journey with HRT. I actually started it this past Wednesday. Put on my very first patch, started taking progesterone at night, slept amazing, by the way. I was astonished at how out I was. And I'm a very light sleeper. So the fact that I did not wake up once for multiple days, I was like, progesterone, amazing, highly recommend. The estrogen was a little bit of a different story. So I put on my first patch on Wednesday, and I had to switch my patch on Saturday. On Wednesday, I felt a little cramping, which is kind of normal. If you've ever taken birth control pills, you know that happens as well, where you can just feel a little crampy, a little off. But I noticed I also felt very jittery, very shaky, very wired, and I didn't understand what was happening. Now, this is the most annoying part about our hormones, is when the estrogen drops and the progesterone drops, we can feel these symptoms of anxiety. Well, if your estrogen is too high, you can also feel the same symptoms of anxiety. So unfortunately, it's this dysfunctional cocktail that we're trying to get perfectly even all the time, which is nearly impossible. And that is what happened. So what ended up happening was Wednesday, I put my first patch on, felt a little shaky, felt a little off, but it was kind of manageable. Started feeling some tightness in my chest, switched the patch to on Saturday. And by Saturday afternoon, I felt absolutely horrible. And I am highly sensitive, so I just had too much estrogen. So I started with 0.075, which is apparently an average or maybe moderate amount of estrogen that most women will start off taking, and that's what I started taking. I probably needed a 0.025 and just start extremely light so my body can get acclimated. Because what happens is when you put the patch on, you get this rush of estrogen that will last you over the next couple days. And that kind of surge for me just didn't work well. It might work well for a lot of other women and they may not necessarily even feel anything, but for me, it didn't work. So what I am going to be doing, I'll let my body balance itself out again, whatever that means, right? And then we're going to start back in a month with 0.025 and we're going to go from there. But of course, what we want to do is be able to start giving ourselves what our body needs in order for it to feel calm and balance ourselves out, whether that is HRT, taking estrogen, and taking progesterone. If that is absolutely not the route that you want to take, then you might want to look into foods high in estrogen-like compounds. So we're talking plant-based pathogens. A lot of soy products are rich in estrogen-like compounds. So you're talking about tofu, soy milk, edamame. You could even do a soy protein powder. Flaxseed is really good. Of course, we can put it in smoothies and oatmeal. Chickpeas, lentils, black beans, nuts and seeds, sunflower, almonds, walnuts. These are healthy fats. They're going to help balance out your nervous system and your overall health as well. So if you don't want to go down maybe an HRT route, or maybe you do and you also want to do these things, great. It's going to obviously support your overall health. But things like exercising is very important at this stage. Walking, swimming, yoga, Pilates. Now, these are just the things that women 20s, 30s, 40s, and above do to help give themselves some exercise, but obviously it's not anything that's making their cortisol levels rise any higher than they need to be. Getting enough sleep is hugely important. I could function on 6, maybe 7 hours of sleep years ago. Right now, if I do not minimum get 8 hours, I am not functioning properly. I need to be asleep in bed, like on the verge of REM by 10:30. And so that is a necessity. It's a priority. If you are highly sensitive, put this down below because I really want to know how many of you are out there. So I cannot drink coffee. Starbucks is completely out of the question. Even just like a normal cup of coffee, I do not enjoy because I can just feel my nervous system reacting to it. And I just don't feel good on it. And if anything, it'll give me like a mini spike and then I will drop hard down after that. So I am not a caffeine drinker. So it would probably be in your best interest to limit the caffeine. I think the biggest thing for us at this stage is balancing our diet. Now, I'm going to sound like a broken record because we're so sick of hearing it, but making sure that we have enough protein, making sure we have enough fiber, just understanding what we're putting into our bodies, trying not to just put empty calories or fluff food or something that's not going to help me in my body is something that I'm more mindful of at this age because I feel horrible after I have it. Again, like I've said in many videos, life is all about balance. I'm not going to not have a piece of birthday cake if it's someone's birthday, but maybe the portion is just a little bit smaller than it used to be. For years, I've talked about healing and working on yourself and self-parenting, and really learning how to parent yourself is so incredibly important, not just because of anxiety that you might be going through during this stage of life and being in perimenopause, but just for your overall health in general. So of course, as us ladies in our 40s, we could all be working on little things like our diet and exercise, and those things definitely make a big difference, absolutely, but also working on your own mental health. And that's not about understanding anxiety so much that it's just going to completely go away, but understanding that this is a phase of life that I'm in, and giving myself grace and being gentle with myself is also a part of self-parenting, which you need to always be doing. I did a reel a while back, and I think I probably have talked about it on here as well, but if not, I can do a whole video on it as well. As just supplements that help really our nervous system, more specifically going through anxiety during this time. But I will link some of the supplements that I'm taking down below. Things like magnesium are absolutely, they're non-negotiables. You should absolutely be taking magnesium during this stage of your life that you're in. This is the one thing that will tremendously help calm your nervous system. It's the one thing that will absolutely help with sleep. It's also the one thing that we're the most deficient in because there's not a lot of foods that are high in magnesium. Everyone should be investing in themselves. And at this stage of life, because we are going through so much mentally and emotionally, it is important to reach out for support and help, whether that is therapy. Always encourage coaching because it is more focus-based, goal-based on getting you where you want to be versus just venting or just learning some information, which can be helpful and can be validating, but you're trying to learn core things about yourself and understand yourself and the principles of self-parenting to help you at 2 in the morning when you're waking up with hot flashes or waking up with a racing heart and you can't go back to sleep and you feel like you're going nuts and you're having panic attacks and you can't do the normal things that you used to be able to do and you don't feel like yourself and the weight is coming on and your hair is thinning and the aging process is happening and you don't feel like you don't feel like yourself whatsoever. You just feel so out of your own body. And I can't fully explain that feeling unless you have felt it yourself. Please let me know if you have, where you just don't feel like yourself. You feel like such a dull version of yourself. It is because of what you're going through and you need support and you need other women to talk to so you don't feel like you're going nuts and crazy. And that's what all of this kind of transition on this channel has been about, is about women being there for women while we are going through this, because I'll tell you, no one told me this is what I was going to be experiencing or I could be experiencing. So that is why I'm here, so we can learn about all of this, understand that we're not going crazy, and also to find solutions, and that one solution for one woman may not be the same solution for another woman. So let's try to find a way to look our best, to feel great at the stage of life, because we've been through a lot. Let's just be honest with ourselves. And we deserve to feel so good, but it's going to unfortunately take a little bit of work on our part. So I hope you are well. If you enjoy this video, don't forget to like and subscribe and share me with any woman that you think might need this information. I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye.